What is up, everybody? I want to take you through another one of my day in the lives, about 16 weeks out. So right now, I want to just talk about a couple things that have changed from 18 weeks to 16 weeks. One of the most noticeable right now is that I am sleeping with a waist trainer. Not a whole lot of science behind that decision. I've just read a couple times where some coaches theorize that keeping the TVA muscles like tight while you sleep or in a somewhat contracted position makes you more conscious of your core throughout the day, which I can say is a noticeable difference for myself. So kind of keeping my diaphragm more like sucked in and not letting my gut hang out a lot of the time. So that helps a little bit. My waist tends to shrink when I go through prep regardless. But I would say that a lot of coaches say that the reason for distension in the stomach is because of people not keeping their waist tight throughout the day, which I would say is probably way down the list of reasons why your gut tends to stick out. I would say for the most part, what you see on stage is a lot of people and competitors eating foods that don't digest well with them, in combination with other enhancements, oral drugs, things like that. I think it's just a disarray of the body, and I think that is why you see so much of that. I don't tend to have too much of that issue. I think when I'm eating a large volume of food, that does tend to make my stomach stick out a little more, but never to the point where I'm like straight up just bulging out of my shirt. At least what I think is bulging. Regardless. So yeah, that's the reason for that. Anything else that's changed? Got this nice little setup here so you can see the microphone at the end, so my audio quality is a little bit better. Other than that, we have some small adjustments to my diet, which I'll probably put up on the screen right now. But we just Stan pulled some fats out of my diet, so we took a lot of the whole eggs out and replaced my 8812 ground beef with top sirloin, so I have to do a lot more chewing. I believe this is one for satiety, so the more chewing you do sends signals to your brain saying that you're not as hungry, and then just lowering the fats to lower the calories altogether. So I think it's about a 400 calorie drop. I would say personally I'm finally at a position where I'm actually able to get the meals down without any trouble. I would say like I'm right at the cusp of where I probably should have stayed, whereas I'm eating and by the end of the meal I'm getting pretty full, but I'm not like looking at the meal like, how am I going to eat this? I have an appetite towards it. So I think I'm in a healthy position there. So there we go. It's my current weight right now. So we're down like 3 pounds or so. Right now I'm going to cook up meal number one. Usually I do have a meal with steak and eggs, but I tend to wake up not super hungry. So what I'm going to do is just a steak meal. I think I should have already put my diet up on the screen. The meals are pretty repetitive. It's a lot of top sirloin steak, which I actually forgot how much I really like just grilled steak. Just the flavor versus ground beef. I was starting to hate ground beef because I was eating so much of it. So actually, you know what? I actually don't have any steak left. I have to run to Costco. So I'm going to be using bison this morning. So what I'm going to do, paper plate here. Look, I know it's not the most environmentally friendly choice, but I use paper plates predominantly because I go through so many dishes because I'm eating all day, and it's created a lot less stress for me personally. So what I do is I always use my rice scooper. Oh, and one other thing. So last night I set my rice cooker on a delay timer, so I'd have fresh rice in the morning when I woke up. So this probably just went off. It's been on for an hour. So I have fresh rice ready for the day. Don't have to worry about that. Doing 6 ounces here. What I'll probably do right now, I can either do I'll probably just do carrots. And when I'm, hey guys, my dog just came in the room. When I am getting ready For a show, I tend to like my food heated up in a pan. It just gives it a little bit more flavor versus heating it up in the microwave. I don't use, I use a little bit of coconut oil cooking spray, but so I don't think it has too many calories. But it just gives you that extra like flavor to your food. I tend to get more like focused on. In the off season, I kind of just eat whatever, right? I just eat my food, heat it up in the microwave. I don't care how it's cooked. I tend to care more about seasonings and how how my food is cooked when I get closer to a show, and it's just kind of my brain. Instead of being able to eat the volume, it focuses more on the taste, or I try to at least. Probably just gonna do some baby carrots. Keep it simple for the first meal. So I'm just gonna throw the beef in the pan there, and the bison. I just got over being pretty sick for a couple weeks, so as far as it looks, it didn't really set me back too far. It kind of sucks that I lost a couple weeks there as far as not being able to eat food. But basically, the situation was that I had an infection for a really long time, and it was actually impairing my ability to eat, which was causing a lot of stress for me. But at the end of the day, I have to look at it as I couldn't really do much about it. I tried my best to eat while I was really sick like that. But at the end of the day, you can't really worry about variables that you can't control. And that's something that I have done in the past, especially in a contest prep scenario where your food's low. You need to try to eliminate any potential stress that you could be having. Whereas not worrying, what I mean by that is not worrying about things that you have little to no control over, and control the variables that you do. For me, a lot of my stress does come from, or used to come from, more so preventable stress, where I would have things that I knew I needed to do, but I wouldn't do them anyway, and with that always comes stress. So I've at least recently tried to take control of those variables and not allow the things that I don't have control over to take any space in my head. Adding iodized salt, I don't have the label on it. Probably add some black pepper too, just for flavor, because they don't really want me eating any sauces right now, which is okay, because I wasn't okay with eating those sauces when I was eating chicken breasts and all this dry plain food and plain shrimp or whatever. But when I'm eating beef, like, everything has so much flavor, I don't need to add a lot of crap to it to make it taste good. Other things that have changed too, we added in a third double day, or Stan did, added in a third double day, so I'm splitting my Thursday workouts. I have Monday, Tuesday, like I've mentioned before, chest AM, back PM on Monday, hamstrings, which I'm going to do right now, and then quads PM on Tuesday, and then Thursday we're going to split one of my workouts. So either upper, lower, or legs, and he said rotate them. So I'm going to do, like this week, I'm going to do chest, shoulders, triceps. So chest AM, shoulders, triceps PM. Next week I'm going to do, the week after that I'm going to do back, biceps, and then I'm going to rotate the legs. And then we're going to just keep doing that rotation, probably the rest of the prep. I'm about at the max amount of days that I can do double days because of my other obligations, work and whatnot. So we'll see how that elicits a change. All I can say now is that I am looking much better than I did 16 weeks out from my last contest prep. So it's going to be really fun to see what I look like. I'm going to do like 4 or 5 baby carrots just for fiber. And then I'm going to do 4 ounces of cranberry juice again for some iodine too. Let me show you the meal. Pretty simple.
And here's the fight that ensues every morning. The little one can keep up with him. She's like 8 pounds lighter than him. Oh no.
Alright, so right now I'm eating my post-workout meal. It's pretty much the same. I don't think this has changed much. I do a little bit of honey and mustard and then some sriracha too. Otherwise, I'm trying not to put sauce in my other meals. I'm just kind of waiting until my appetite kind of catches up more before I start removing the sauces, because when I'm still not hungry, I need something to give my food a little bit of flavor. And then I have my 3 thermotabs as well, electrolyte tablets, and a sugar-free or a diet soda with some caffeine in it. I think this is Dr. Pepper right now. So yeah, really quick. I'm going to try to keep this video not... Let me see if I can lower this a little bit. I'm going to try to keep this video less focused on just what I eat in a day. A lot of what I do on the days that I don't work is obviously a great chunk of my time is always spent training, getting to and from the gym, preparing meals, sleeping, all the most important things. And I would say prior to restarting my YouTube channel, I wasn't really doing much. I kind of have always been searching for doing something that like is productive, and I was doing things based on productivity but not really on what I enjoyed. So obviously I enjoy bodybuilding and I enjoy all the things that go along with it, but doing it for long periods of time without anything in between can be exhausting. So honestly, I was at a place where I was sleeping a lot and not really doing much with my time, much productive things. I may seem productive from a lot of these videos, but I wasn't always this way. Bodybuilding, like I do it. I always have done it. I haven't really taken too many breaks off of it in the last 10 years. But there are definitely times where I've cut more corners, and even this last winter, I just had a lot of times where I just stayed in bed for long periods of time. And it's almost like this cycle that kind of, like I push myself really hard for a long time, and I get fatigued to a point where the things that I'm doing aren't exciting me anymore, and I'm also just exhausted from training where it becomes a job, and I also just have nothing else to lean onto. I don't do anything else, and it becomes overwhelming where I sleep in for long periods of time, and I become unproductive. I become depressed. You're going to see me be more productive in these videos, but it's really because of a couple reasons. One, I've outlined my goals and made them more clear. Two, I stopped doing shit that I don't enjoy doing, and I started doing the shit that I love to do. My decision making was based on how can I make more money, and so I started making career choices based off of that and trying to chase those things. But those weren't fulfilling for me, and those aren't the things that get me out of bed in the morning. Bodybuilding is the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning, but it does become exhausting. I need other areas to put my energy into. My day, it may look like work, but I really enjoy doing all of these things. I think I have a lot of people come up to me and they're like, "How you're so dedicated, how do you do it?" And it's like, I don't know. I couldn't do anything else. Like, I love doing this. And that's the same for doing YouTube and editing videos. And I think a lot of my decision making was based off of money prior, and it was also based off of what was a sensible decision. Once I started embracing things for the fact that I just simply enjoyed doing them and not thinking about other people's opinions of those things, like people think YouTube is not a career choice, or Instagram is not a career choice, and bodybuilding is not a career choice. So I see many people doing it, so I am deciding to consciously not listen to those people, because I love doing these things regardless if there's a monetary gain or not. They're fun for me. So I just wanted to have a little rant about, basically, don't choose things because they are sensible and because they may be a secure decision. Choose things because you love to do them. Like, life is too short to spend it doing things you don't love. And if you have to work another job to make this thing get off the ground, that's okay. If I could just support myself and be able to bodybuild and not make any more money, I'd be happy. But I love what I do, and I wake up every day motivated to do these things. I know I haven't really accomplished much yet, but I have a belief that I can accomplish those things. And I just want to encourage other people to just do what you love. Like, I was in such a lower place when I didn't actually embrace what I loved, and I can't imagine how it must be hard for other people who are going to jobs they don't enjoy and just waking up every day and not having a reason to wake up. It must be so much harder to get through the day. So regardless if you're going to make money doing it, regardless if you're going to be successful doing it, do it because you enjoy doing it. Right here, I'm actually sauteing my vegetables for the rest of my meals. So I have peppers, spinach, onions, and mushrooms, and then I put some salt on it. Most likely I won't be continuing with these vegetables as I get closer to the show. But for right now, just like I mentioned before, I'm keeping in some of the sauce and some of the things that just help me get the food down. And this is one of my favorite vegetable mixtures right here. Doesn't really cause too much digestive distress. Here I've already weighed out 6 ounces of chicken breast and 250 grams of rice. And apologize for my station here. The reason I do have a paper towel down here is because I'm constantly preparing food, so I'm constantly like missing and getting rice everywhere, like you can see right there. So it's a smart idea if you're preparing your food to have a little mat underneath it. All right, so now I'm finishing up my last meal of the day. I chose to kind of keep my other meals out because they're very repetitive, so they're basically the same thing I was eating from the meal you saw. So it was 250 grams of rice, and then I was doing 6 ounces of steak instead of bison, same amount of veggies and stuff like that, and then did do some fruit post-workout. I'm still doing the same shakes, so 50 grams of carbs, intra-workout 2 times a day for my double days. But so for this meal, it's a little bit different. I'm trying to get some potassium in with potatoes. So I have, what I did was I weighed out the potatoes uncooked, and I'm going to weigh them out after they're cooked. I weighed out 8 ounces. My goal is 6, so I figured they lose some water. Right now I'm covering them a little bit, just kind of like almost steam them a little bit, although I think they need a little more cooking spray. They don't burn too much. So I'm covering them so they steam a little bit. I'm going to weigh those out in a sec. So earlier I had that steak, I cooked it on the grill. What I did was I salted it both sides and then just threw it on the grill for 4 minutes aside. They got it about medium rare. I've noticed with steak you want to cook it a little bit less on the stove. A little bit less on the grill. Almost done. You can see here they're like starting to brown a little bit. So what I was saying is with the steak you want to cook it a little bit less on the grill because you're going to be reheating it throughout the week. So you want to make sure that that it's a little undercooked because if you have it already medium or medium well, it's going to be well done by the time you pull it out of the microwave or take it off the stove. And you can also, I reheat my food like cut up like the steak, so you can always reheat it as whole and it has less chance of that happening. Like I didn't show my last meal, but it was like horrible because I threw the steak in for 1 minute and 30 seconds, thinking the extra 30 seconds would make it a little bit warmer, and it just made my steak super tough. So this was probably like medium rare, and if I just keep it on for a smart amount of time, it won't get too much more cooked, which is the goal, but in the case that it does, hopefully it won't be too overdone because it's already medium rare. Okay, so it's a little bit over. I'm going to pull some of that off. Big spray. So I'm going to do some eggs. A lot of people like to call eggs nature's multivitamin. I don't know, I have this like, I feel very sound knowing my food has a lot of nutrition. I've always been pretty conscious of what's in my food, and there have been times where I've had, people advise me to eat less nutrient-dense food and just try to get my protein and carbs in, and I don't know, I feel a little uncomfortable doing that, like knowing that, like, always having a sense of, like, micronutrients were important, even when I didn't really know much about micronutrition. I always felt uneasy eating just chicken breasts and white rice and all this stuff that didn't have much nutrition. So I almost feel like I have this sense of, like, I don't want to say well-being, just knowing my food is good for me as well, I guess. Pick up a little bit of spinach too. I know I already have some potassium in this meal, but I try to have just a small amount of greens every meal if I can, because my after workout meals, I don't really have too much veggies. Now, I don't think you want to go crazy with the vegetables, but I do think you want to have just a sensible amount in the diet. Eating a pound of broccoli obviously is not sensible, and it's going to give you a lot of gas. Just have a consistent way of weighing your food. So realize that, potatoes have water. With rice, I've heard criticisms of different ways to cook it, but I always use the same amount of water. So I would say it's always pretty close. And I have a certain way I like my rice, and I know when it's different. Like if it's too watery. So I'm pretty conscious of that. I know it's not perfect, but I would say I have my rice pretty much the same way every time. So, and then I always weigh everything cooked, but I would say have a standard way for weighing and cooking your food, just so you don't have too many deviations if you're trying to be really serious. What I do is I flip the eggs just for a second, so they just get so the yolk is no longer runny. So this is going to be my sixth and final meal. One thing I didn't mention, I had a little bit of orange juice throughout the day, kind of keep my liver happy, the fructose in, and then just my supplements. Oops. So I'm going to do NAC, and TEDCA for my liver. 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3. All right, I just wanted to take a moment and thank you all for watching. I'm going to be doing different styles and experimenting with different types of styles of these videos as I get closer to my show, but always trying to be transparent and show you guys some of the stuff that is going on in and outside of bodybuilding for myself. So if you have any suggestions on things you'd like to see, just leave them in the comments down below. I'm really happy with the small amount of response that I have gotten from making these videos, and I'm going to continue to make them because I do get some feedback on people saying that it helps them, and even if it's just one person, that's really important to me. So anyway, subscribe. If you have any suggestions, I'd be really happy to hear them. So thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next time.